Hi there. So this video comes from a request for someone who had been having some pain in their collarbone region, noticing that different placements of their arm and elbow and space created some pain and feelings of weakness in that arm. And so the practices that I'm going to offer here are not to say that they're going to solve things or that they're going to fix any injury. Rather, these are offerings to potentially get a little bit deeper into understanding what's going on. Perhaps you'll get some feedback over what types of movements feel helpful, what types don't, and you might end up leaving this video and thinking that, okay, if I've been experiencing some shoulder pain, maybe it's time for me to go to a physical therapist or go to someone who can maybe give a little bit more explicit answers. That being said, a lot of our shoulder pains tend to come from repetitive movements and specifically this kind of hunched over motion that we frequently engage in our lives. And opening up and stretching through and working through some of the fascia can actually be pretty helpful in releasing. So let's go ahead and dive in. For this, you're going to want a ball. This one's a little bit big. A lacrosse ball might be a little bit better. You could use a tennis ball, although you might find that a little too squishy. So lacrosse ball is a really great choice. Additionally, some form of strap. You could use a belt, a long sleeve shirt, pair of leggings, anything like that. So we're going to start today by opening up a little bit through the shoulders. So you can grab your strap and hold it up overhead, create a little bit of tension between left and right. You might be able to feel some of the muscles of your outer arms, of your shoulders engage. And then as you move your strap down, keep that tension. It might feel a little bit different as your arms move in space. Maybe you're noticing where the sensations are. This time as you go back, you might widen enough that you can bring your arms all the way back and down, keeping them straight. And then we're going to go back up. And again, feel free to widen as much as you need or to bend your elbows as you're starting off here. It can be kind of intense. And we don't want pain. So create this movement in a way that feels sustainable in your body. Here you can even picture the upper bone of your arm moving in its socket, moving around some of that softer tissue. And if you're feeling like you're getting pretty warmed up there, you can change your grip a little bit, maybe bringing it in, and we'll go over to one side and back a ways, and then back through center and over to the other side. Sorry, I feel a sneeze coming on, but apparently it's not going to happen. So, and as you're going from side to side, you might widen your grip again and work on bringing the top arm back behind you and then reversing out of it the other direction. Okay, so going to one side, top arm comes back. What was the bottom arm comes up and you come back. So maybe once more, either direction. And allow yourself to notice if any particular sensation is arising. Of course, if there is some sort of pain that's saying, ooh, no, this is bad, then listen to that. Also be aware that there might be some pain that's feedback, but it's not necessarily saying, hey, stop this movement. And only you can be the judge of that. So truly trust your judgment here. We're going to get into this ball now. So we're actually going to start by lying on our bellies and then place this ball just below the collarbone, kind of near your armpit, and you can lift your arm up and roll a little bit on it, getting into some of the tissue that way. And then you can move your arm, keeping your torso still, noticing how when you move your arm, that moves on the surface of the ball. Might be a place that feels pretty good to dig into. You can always readjust your ball. You might notice that there are muscles of your chest that could use a little bit of attention too. Sometimes If we have a lot of contraction in surrounding muscles, that leads to the pain, referring to whatever part of the body that you're talking about. So in the shoulder, some shoulder pain can be caused by tightness of surrounding muscles like chest muscles, back muscles. All right. Now, of course, we're going to do this on the other side as well. So just set yourself up for that. Starting by finding some of that rolling movement on the ball. And then using your movement in your arm. And you can really play with where your hand is. So are you internally or externally rotating your upper arm? That's going to bring different parts in contact with this ball. Maybe getting into some of the chest muscles again. And easing out of that. And we're going to do a little bit of nerve flossing. These nerves that we're going to focus on come down from the base of the skull through the arm and into the fingers. And so we're going to do some kind of static movement through one arm at a time. We'll pulse our head side to side, and you might feel some nerve sensation as we do this. So let's start with whatever arm, bring it out to the side, flare out your fingers, draw your shoulders down and together. And right here, you might already feel something, and you can lower your other side ear toward that shoulder. And if you're here and you're like, I'm not really feeling much, you can change this by bringing your hand back. So rotating your thumb in toward you, and then flexing your fingers out behind you. All right, now from there, find that head pulsation. Now you might mostly feel this in your arms. There's a chance you'll feel it in your neck a bit. Gently release out. We'll go to the other side, starting with that simple arm extension, finger flare, head pulses. And if you would like, you can add in that rotation of your thumb in toward your body, and then bend at your wrists so that you have your fingers kind of drawing toward your forearm, and then pulse your head again. And go ahead and release out of this. Now from here, you can bring one hand toward one collarbone, working up along the crest of that shoulder. There might be a place that has a little more noticeable tension. Usually for women, it's like right in that area where your bra strap runs. And you can think of bringing your fingers just over the crest of your shoulders, letting them dig in a little bit and softening your shoulder away from your ear. Gently release out of that. We'll go to the other side. Massaging your way up. Find that zone on your shoulder, just over the crest of it. Let your fingers dig in. And gently begin to ease out of that. Now we have just a couple more stretches that we're going to do. And before we do them, we're going to activate a little bit through the arms so that our arms feel safer opening up. It helps sometimes to have some muscle activation first. So you can start by bringing your elbows to the mat and landing your hands. Your hands can also interlace. Sometimes that feels a little bit stronger. And then if it feels okay, lift your knees up off of the mat so that you're in a sort of dolphin form. And from here, especially if your fingers are crossed, you can lift your thumb up, or if your fingers are interlaced, I should say. And then looking forward, you're going to rock toward your thumbs and away. Now, you might think of touching your forehead to your thumbs. If that happens pretty easily, then maybe your nose. If that happens pretty easily, maybe your chin. All right, knowing that there's no expectation, we're simply activating through our shoulders. And if in doing these rocks forward, you start to feel your shoulders get exhausted, and maybe it feels like you're kind of sagging into them, instead find stillness. Keep pressing away from the floor with your forearms, with your elbows. Try to preserve the integrity here. And gently release wherever you are. Make your way onto your belly. All right, from here, press the tops of your feet into the mat, press your pelvis into the mat. Lift your belly button away from the mat gently, as though there's like a raspberry underneath your belly button that you're trying to avoid squishing. Now from here, maintaining that crest of feet and pubic bone, lifting away with the belly, we're going to lift the heart as much as you can without using your hands. All right, so we're broadening through the collarbones. You might even reach your hands back by your sides. Avoid craning your neck. Instead, let your head be fairly neutral here. And if you feel up to it, you might add in your legs, lifting them. But if that feels like it's compromising anything, bring them back down so you can press into the tops of your feet again. Here for 3, 2, 1. Gently release down onto the mat. We're going to bring right hand out to the side. Palm is face down in line with your forehead. So it's a little bit higher up, not necessarily a 90 degrees angle here. Now press into your left hand and roll onto your right side. You might bend your knees in a little bit. Keep your head lifted. You can gaze over your left shoulder. Now we have options here. Option 1 is staying right here. Option 2, if you're feeling like you don't really feel this right now, plant your left foot on the mat, and that will rotate you a little further so that maybe you do feel some sensation. And option 3 is going to be to add in this arm, this left arm. So you might enjoy having it on the mat for support. You might enjoy bringing it to your left hip, kind of drawing your left shoulder down and back. You might enjoy reaching your left arm out behind you, extending it. Gently come back through center, rolling back to your belly. And we'll go to the second side. So your right hand can come in, left hand lands in line with the forehead. Roll toward your left side. You can bend your knees a bit. Gaze is over your right shoulder. So we're strengthening and mobilizing through the neck just by looking over that shoulder, keeping our heads lifted. And from here, you might add in that planting of your right foot to roll open a little bit more. You might keep your right hand planted, or you might bring it to your right hip, drawing your right shoulder down and back. There's a chance it would feel good to extend your right arm behind you. Gently return through center. Straightening out your legs, rolling back to your belly. All right, now from here, we're going to plant the elbows beneath the shoulders, forearms on the mat. Press into the tops of your feet again, press into your pelvis, lift your low belly away from that imaginary raspberry, and then draw your heart through and forward. Keeping collarbones really broad. Notice how this feels. One more breath here. Gently lower back down. You can move your hands back a little bit. We're going to press up to our knees. Our final form of this little mini session is going to be to crawl hands forward, keep your hips above your knees, and lower your heart down toward the mat. Your head might hang between your arms. Your forehead might touch the mat. Or if that happens easily and you lose sensation in your arms, then you might work on bringing your chest or chin to the mat. Knowing that none of these options is better than the other. They're simply places for you to access awareness in your body, to explore whatever sensations arise. Grip in with your fingertips. On an exhale, we're going to press into the fingertips. Lift up, really rounding here. Crawl your hands in. Send yourself back into a seated form. Might feel nice to find some shoulder circles or other organic movement at this point. And you might be able to scan through your body and notice if there's any other movement that would feel good to you right now. One final thing I will offer is it might feel nice looking toward the right for you to bring your right hand to the base of your left ear and find that band of muscle that goes down your throat and hooks into the tops of the collarbones. And it might feel nice to kind of massage that out. Maybe there's a place that feels good to hold and stay. Maybe you continually move up and down. Let's gently release through center and go to the other side. Left hand to the base of your right ear. Find that band of muscle. Massage it in whatever way feels best in your body. Gently release. When you're comfortable, seat, we're going to take 2 nice full breaths together. So exhale everything that's in your lungs, drawing your muscles of your abdomen inward to really clean out that last bit of breath. On an inhale, rebound through your internal organs, fill up through your lungs, even that space in your chest. Fill up even the space of your throat. Maybe at the top of your breath, you can sip in just a bit more. Maybe a little bit more. Exhale through your mouth, let it go. Let's do one more of those. Inhale through the bottoms of your lungs, the middle, the top, into your throat. And at the top, sip in just a bit more. Just a tiny bit more. And exhale, let it go. You might choose to stay here for a moment or to jump back into the rest of your day. I hope that these movements brought some nourishment into your shoulders and perhaps gave you some helpful feedback to figure out what the next best step is for you. Thank you for joining.